I wanted to straighten out this whole mess for you. Suppose you got a different idea about the movie of the week or shorts and shoutouts, huh? You know why you couldn't figure out the film quiz or red pill, blue pill, Greg? It's because the person you were looking for was too close. He was right across the desk from you. It was me all along. It was me all along, Greg. And now it's time for the movie show.
Hello and welcome to the movie show, Noirvember special. So, I'm Greg Fisher and I'm joined, of course, as always, by my esteemed colleague and escaped convict, the serial cinephile, Dave Roberts. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
All right, thanks. Not too bad. So this week we're going to have a Film Noir themed special where we're going to be celebrating the Femme Fatales, the Hapless heroes, the gumshoes, everything about this beloved genre. I mean, you love a bit of Film Noir, don't you, Dave?
I do love a bit of film noir. The black and white, the smoky sets, the Femme Fatales under the lampposts. It's a wonderful film genre.
Perfect. Shall we get straight into it?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
We kick things off, as always, with What Have You Been Watching, where we talk, discuss and analyse some of the films we've been checking out over the last week. So, Greg, what have you been watching?
Well, I've been watching quite a few films this week. Caught up on quite a few bits and bobs there. So the first one I suppose I should mention was Us by Jordan Peele. I've done a review for it on moremovies.co.uk. So if you want to find out really everything I thought about that, you're best to go over to the website there and have a look at the review. Have you seen Us?
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list
Yeah.
to have a look at.
So I'm a bit reticent to talk to you about it right here and now, especially with a film noir themed show. So like I say, you can read my review on the website if you want. Probably best to go and see the film first and then just find out what I thought there. Another couple of films I've been watching. One film was The Swimmer with Burt Lancaster, 1968.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that's quite an interesting film. I don't know if you've had a chance to see that yet.
Not as of yet. Not as of yet.
No.
Another one of them.
Do give it a spin at some point. But again, there's a retro review for it on the website, so you can refer to moremovies.co.uk if you want to read my thoughts on that. I mean, I've seen it getting quite a bit of attention on Twitter, and to be honest, I'd never heard of it or seen it before the last week or so. And another film quickly wanted to tell you about that I watched just last night was The Misfits, which is a John Huston film, 1961, stars Marilyn Monroe, Clark Gable, Montgomery Clift, and Eli Wallach's in there as well. Really good drama, character study. Marilyn's amazing in it. Clark Gable gives this fantastic performance as a sort of old cowboy guy. And John Huston, written by Arthur Miller, who was, of course, a great playwright and writer, and I think he was married to Marilyn Monroe at the time. So, yeah, give that a spin last night. First time I've ever seen it because it's a classic film. I'd known about it for years, but I'd not got around to seeing it until now. Watched it last night, and it was just absolutely brilliant. Really good film. I recommend you go and see it. And what have you been watching, buddy?
Well, I thought, it's Noir Week, and I thought, well, I'll go check out something that I hadn't seen before, but I thought I'd go with more of a neo-noir, something a bit modern. So I thought I'd check out Brick, which you'd recommended to me.
Sure, Rian Johnson film.
Rian Johnson, yeah. You recommended it a while back and hadn't got around to watching it, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go, and wow, pleasantly surprised.
You liked it?
I did enjoy it. Rian Johnson's going up in my estimation every time I watch one of his films now. Really pleasantly surprised. I mean, obviously after Star Wars, there was a kind of about him bad feelings really. But after Knives Out, that was amazing. And then you'd said, "Oh, if you enjoyed that, go back and watch this." Obviously, this is his first major feature.
Sure.
A young Joseph Gordon-Levitt in there. Or youngish anyway.
Sure.
And it's just a great performance, and it reminded me a lot of like Coen Brothers films.
Yeah.
And stuff like, and it reminded me a bit of something like Mulholland Drive or something like that in terms of aesthetically.
Yeah.
It was very kind of going for that neo-noir feel, that they're going for almost like LA Confidential, something like that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a Sam Spade kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in a high school.
But in a high school, and that was the interesting bit, the fact that they meshed, this kind of high school drama with the kind of noir, kind of premise of it being almost like a detective story and these gangs.
Absolutely.
It was like, wow, that's a really interesting idea and something really different. So very enjoyable. Definitely worth watching. If anyone hasn't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's one to go check out.
There we go. Recommended by The Movie Show. Go and see that film. Oh, one more let's talk about just before we go from Movie of the Week, because I know we both watched it this week. Let's have a quick talk about The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, because not technically film noir, but certainly of that genre. We got John Huston directing. We got Humphrey Bogart in there. What did you think of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was a hell of a treat. And yeah, I say it's not technically noir, but it's definitely of that period. It's from the 40s, and it's definitely soaked in that kind of feeling of mistrust and stuff like that, which was very much that cinema of the time.
Yeah.
And wow, that's a film that's right at the top of my list now in terms of great cinema.
Me too.
You can see why so many people are influenced and respect it so highly.
Yeah.
Just incredible, and definitely, for me, Humphrey Bogart's best performance I've ever seen. I
think so. I mean, there are still some more performances I'd like to see of his before I gave a definite on that, but it's certainly one of the strong ones. I mean, I think it's The African Queen is the only other thing you can see him in where he is so different from how he, from the kind of characters he usually plays, which are more, the gumshoe from film noirs, the Sam Spades and these kind of characters that we know and love him for. But yeah, I mean, his character in Sierra Madre is just unbelievable, isn't it? He's just the way his brain works and the way he kind of he portrays that jealousy at the end, and he always almost becomes a maniac, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, it's truly special. It's fine acting at its high point, and it's as you say, it's so different from everything else.
Yeah,
that we know Humphrey Bogart for, because he is one of them actors that him for a certain thing.
Yeah,
and so to see him completely out of his comfort zone. Yeah. At the height of his career, really.
I felt like he really enjoyed playing that as well, because it was, he's not the good guy, and there isn't really well, I suppose Tim Holt's character is as close as you get to a good guy. The younger miner there, he's a good guy, but Bogart is, he's really, if anything, he's the antagonist of the piece.
Absolutely, and it's an interesting kind of, as we were saying, it's a character study. It's a character study of these different individuals and what happens in those group dynamics.
Sure.
And yeah, just a fascinating piece, really. It's very different.
I think one of the biggest ingredients missing that certainly denote that it's not in the film noir genre is that there's no women really in that film. I don't think I spotted any in there at all. And that's the one thing I thought, there's no females. There are in the village, in the Mexican village, but they're very much background characters. They're waiting on the old boy hand and foot towards the end, and peeling his grapes for him and whatnot. But there's no real roles for women in there. But other than that, it is a good film. I knew you were going to enjoy it straight as soon as I'd finished watching it and seen Bogart's performance. I think I got straight on the phone to you. I was like, you got to see this film, man. You got to check it out straight away.
That's it.
Yeah. And that fight scene, I mean, talk about Coen Brothers and stuff. I thought, smash that bottle in the guy's face, and there's, fists flying. It was brutal. And this is the thing about old films. People think, they're going to be boring. They're just, nothing happens. And But if you actually sit down and watch these things, they're packed full of action. They're packed full of great dialogue. I mean, better dialogue than modern movies, if you ask me. But really, going back to that thing about the action and everything, I thought that was one of the best fight scenes, most realistic, and as you say, brutal fight scenes I've ever witnessed. I thought, whoa, look at this.
Well, I think they had the great plethora of stunt actors back then and the action coordinators and stuff to pull it off. It was the height of it, really. And I mean, it was for me done beautifully in this, because it was a portrayal of the down on the luck guys. It was that kind of era, and so it really portrayed that kind of. It verged on kind of Western kind of themes, obviously, and it was great, just really, really great. Yeah,
one of the best bar fights I've seen, anyway.
Yeah,
especially
apart from Convoy,
or Parallax View.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening to this section of the show. That's it this week for What Have You Been Watching?
Okay, this week's movie of the week is the 1955 thriller and noir classic, The Night of the Hunter, directed by Charles Laughton, and of course starring Robert Mitchum and Shelley Winters. It's based on the 1953 novel of the same title, and the film focuses on the corrupt minister turned serial killer who attempts to charm an unsuspecting widow and steal $10,000 hidden by her executed husband. It's now considered one of the greatest films of all time. We revisited the film this week as it's Noirvember, and we'll check it out all these years later again. So, Greg, what did you think?
Well, this is one of the best films ever made, isn't it? Transcending all genres in that sense. Charles Laughton obviously showing his incredible talents as a filmmaker. The only film he ever directed, because obviously he's known as the actor rather than as a film director. But I know that Robert Mitchum considered him to be a genius. And one interview I seen where they were asking him, I don't know whether the guy was running out of good questions to ask or something, but he says to Mitchum at one point, "Did you ever offer any advice on the script or have any input into the script?" And Mitchum says, "What, with Charles Laughton?" No, I didn't do that. As if he's basically saying that, he was a genius and he didn't need my help. And yeah, you can see why when you watch this film. It's just, it's visually probably the most impressive film. I mean, and that's saying something. I probably would backtrack on that under scrutiny, but it is certainly one of those that you just think, wow, just wow.
It's certainly a film that deserves a lot of the plaudits it gets. Yeah. And of course, there's plenty of debate to be had on greatest films ever and greatest cinematography and all those kind of topics. Yeah. And everyone will come to different conclusions, I'm sure. Yeah. But if you talk about what's in the conversation, I think most people would agree this is in that conversation, and that's the thing. Few films reach the genius that this film reaches, and I think the thing I always think for its time, because noir is dark cinema. Noir is cinema that is so it went to places that other films didn't. Yeah. This for me is a film that went to places that film perhaps hasn't even gone to many times since. Wow. The premise of the film. Sure. When you dig into it and you think for a film in the 50s, to be talking about kidnapping children, a corrupt priest, a serial killer, and all this, it's like, wow,
it's heavy.
That's going somewhere. You know what I mean? And but does it in a way that you don't sit there going, this is silly or anything like that. You sit there going, wow.
I think it's because as well, it's from a time where that kind of light and dark, the chiaroscuro, which is, laid out visually for you right in front of your eyes. It's there in the themes. This is a really dark character, a really bad man, a conflicted man, a crazy man, really. He's gone insane, and he's going after children, really, which represents purity, represents innocence. They haven't had time in their lives to become evil or anything. So, there's that real contrast there. I mean, the first time I seen it was actually when we were studying, so it was only about 10 years ago when I saw it. And my very first shot I ever saw was her sitting in the rocking chair with the shotgun. And I thought, wow, what's this? Where's that with the old lady with the shotgun? And there he is on the horizon, the silhouette on the horse. And obviously the other famous shots, like Shelley Winters in the car down underneath the water with all the waves and the weeds. Sorry, it's just such a creepy, amazing shot, that, isn't it? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it is. It's disturbing and foreboding, and it does. It's a film that gives you the willies. I mean, his performance, Robert Mitchum's performance, is just
genius. It is
formidable.
Great.
It is absolutely amazing, and it does. It's that disturbing look at what humans can do, and however grotesque the story is, and however grotesque the characters can be in it. You're just there with them. It's weird. It's weird that you're kind of there with them all the way. Like,
oh yeah,
you invest into it,
Yeah,
and it's quite something to pull off, really, because sometimes you can go too far, and
oh yeah,
something becomes so removed from emotional reality that you kind of go, well, I can't.
Yeah.
Sit with this anymore.
It's a
but
turn
this
off.
You're there, yeah, and but this you sit with it and you go wow, and it's gothic cinema, it's noir cinema, and it's a real landmark piece of American cinema to me. It's up there with.
It's a standalone. It's just absolutely brilliant. Just to look at visually. It keeps you there. You don't know what he's going to do next. With each shot is just revealing this world, and it's almost done in a theatrical way because he was obviously a theatrical actor. He was used to the theatre and stuff, and I think he's borrowed a lot of that kind of that fantastic stage dressing techniques where they're almost using silhouette and backgrounds, and some of it doesn't look 100% real. It's not supposed to. But what it represents is so stark that you just go with that vision. You're just into the story. It's perfect storytelling, great performances. It looks good. There's good music. It's just If you haven't seen Night of the Hunter, you've got to go see that. It's just an amazing film.
That's it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now. It is, as we say, it's considered one of the greatest films ever. Yeah. I would say it's one of the greatest films ever made, and it's a very important milestone in American cinema.
Absolutely. So there we go, Night of the Hunter. I mean, if you have seen it and you think we've missed something out, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think of that seminal film noir, and we'd love to hear from you. And now it's time to hear from our favourite mafioso movie mogul, Don Corleone. Let's see what he's got a review for us of this week.
Ciao a tutti, come state? This is Don Corleone with another film review for the movie show. This week's film is called Brute Force. It's an early example of a prison drama, and it also serves as an action movie from a bygone era. I like this movie as it's sympathetic to the plight of the incarcerated. Although many of the men are probably hardened criminals, their crimes do not compare to the evil machinations of the prison guards, particularly this guy, Captain Muncie. This little chicken shit is worming his way to the top of the heap by betraying the trust of his colleagues and leaving a trail of violent abuse. Meanwhile, inside the prison, the inmates are preparing supper. What's on the menu, Don Corleone? I hear you say. Well, tonight it looks like roasted stool pigeon. So as with any good prison movie, there's an escape attempt in the pipeline. These poor schleps are digging a tunnel, but little do they know that the prison authorities are wise to their scheme. Captain Muncie continues to slap people about, and no one is safe from the back of his hand. This Mameluke gets a double dose. And to satisfy the evil captain's thirst for violence, he also gets the pipe. Meanwhile, the rest of the screws sit around playing cards, and they turn a blind eye to this poison dwarf's misconduct. so Muncie manages to gain full power over the prison when he's promoted to warden. But this little tin pot dictator's time has nearly run out. The prisoners have had enough of this megalomania, and they decide to start a revolution. They're determined to bring his evil reign to an end. So they break out the Molotov cocktails and get the party started. And in all this heat, the evil Muncie orders his lackey to turn his gun on the crowd. Messy business. Meanwhile, the gang attempting to escape hear about the action going on and they want back in. Unfortunately, they too find themselves at the service center with Vickers' machine gun. Now, as you can see, this guy's not going to go out without a fight. And he takes a giant leap of faith and manages to neutralize the threat. This gives his colleagues just enough time to break back in. Unfortunately, this is the United States of America, and everyone is armed to the teeth, which increases the chances of catching a bullet in this maelstrom. Westgate Penitentiary is now turned into a gunfight at the OK Corral, and this poor guy's taking a slug in the back. Meanwhile, Muncie continues to rain down a hail of bullets on the inmates, but he fails to notice our friend sneaking up on him. As with any revolution, a lot of blood has been spilled, and many comrades have paid the ultimate price in order to bring an end to this reign of terror. After one last struggle, this guy takes pity on Muncie and decides to save him from the raging inferno. Realizing his mistake, he keels over while the rest of the guards disperse the crowd using some sort of smoke grenade. A downbeat ending to a tough picture. I give this movie 1, 2, 3, 4 Corleones out of a possible 5. Hope you can join me next time for another film review.
Well, that was an interesting story, Don. I don't think you want to tell that story again, okay?
Another Don Corleone, another film. He's certainly got his own unique spin on it. Okay, now it's time for another film fight. Put up those dukes. Or should it be more like this because we're a Film Noir? Old Queensbury rules. Okay, so it's Film Noir week. It's Noirvember, so we thought we'd have a little bit of fun and we'd pit Femme Fatales against Hapless heroes. So, Dave, you are going to take the side of Femme Fatales, and you have 1 minute at the sound of the bell, which is...
So, the Femme Fatale, which is, to me, it's the crux on which all the noir stories are held, really. And without them, the plot usually doesn't go anywhere. The Femme Fatale, or the Lethal Woman, as it would be known, is the archetype of feminine strength to me, the one who uses her wily ways to maneuver the situation into one that is beneficial to themselves in the end. Hypnotic, seductive, enchanting, they use their power and their beauty to nullify the senses of the male protagonists, and in the end this is all to benefit themselves. They're characters that have always existed in storytelling, I think. In ancient tales, you'd think of the sirens or the vampires, and later tales of folk tales. Later, they've become the conniving wives of kings and Shakespeare and stuff like that. But by the 20th century, they've come a long way, and we have what is the Femme Fatale. And noir cinema transformed them into the centerpiece of the tale. In the hard-boiled detectives. Tales that they're based upon from the 20s. And I'm out of time.
That's it. That's your minute, buddy, but you stated a great case there. So we'll go straight into round 2. The sound of the bell, I will make a case for the Hapless heroes. And there we go. Okay, so the Hapless heroes. Without them, we would have nothing. We would have no story at all. What good is a femme fatale unless we've got a good old sap for her to take advantage of? I mean, we've got some great characters over the years here. They're playing these guys that basically fall in love with a dangerous woman, an irresistible femme fatale. And these guys go to great lengths, they get involved in murders and plots to kidnap and robberies and all sorts of things. They go to the ends of the earth to fulfill the desires and be the center of attention for all these femme fatales. And, they are the people really whose eyes we often see the story through. A lot of the classic noir was made in a time where, it was considered to be a man's world. And that's the great thing about femme fatale, really, that they show where the true power is. But as I say, without that, our hapless heroes, without these guys to stick the blame on or use as a scapegoat at the end, what have you got? And plus you've got all those great styles as well to complement these wonderful looking women. You've got these guys looking all dapper with their fedoras and their suits on, and yeah, there we go. There's the bell. So yeah, basically what we're saying here, isn't it, is you can't have one without the other. But, what do you think? I mean, when I think of film noir, I'm thinking of Rita Hayworth. I'm thinking of Ava Gardner. I maybe think of Humphrey Bogart or something. But, it's usually the femme fatales I think of first. Would you say that was fair?
Yes, I think you do. I think you think of the couple.
Yeah,
and I think that's the ultimate thing. I think they do. Ultimately, it does come down to, as we really get into, that it's the two of them together. You think of Walter Neff and Phyllis in Double Indemnity. You think of Sam Spade and Bridget in The Maltese Falcon. They don't really work without the other, because you need the woman to. Yeah, the woman has to take advantage of the man, but the man has to be there to be taken advantage of. And if the woman isn't there taking advantage of him, he's just wandering through.
Sure.
So, it usually doesn't work without them.
No,
but
one without
you need
the other.
one. Yeah.
Hello.
I think I was just trying to get at the iconic sort of. If you look at a poster, you would usually see Veronica Lake before you see.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is visually. It's of course the beautiful femme fatale adorning the screen.
Sure.
No one gives a about the
old
bloke in the
old duffer,
the old geezer.
How old do you say I was if you didn't know me? 40? No. How old do you think I look?
Brilliant. Well, there we
go.
Yeah, a nice little skirmish of a film fight this week. And what do you think? What do you think, listeners? Do you think that it's the femme fatale that leads the pack with film noir, or is it our hapless heroes? You let us know in the comments.
It's time again for the film quiz here on the movie show. Time to grill Greg on some of his cinema knowledge. We got plots, we got questions, and we got images. If you're listening in on stereophone or recorder record on the radio, make sure to check us out here on the YouTube channel so you can see what we're looking at. So Greg, are you ready to be grilled?
Sure am, sweetheart.
Right, let's get things off.
Let's do this. I think I'm going to be rubbish this week because my film noir knowledge is...
Well, it's a bit of noir, it's a bit of neo-noir, it's a bit of both, so...
Let's give it a
see
spin.
how we get
Let's
on.
go.
Let's give it a spin. Okay, number one is a plot. Okay?
Yep.
3 detectives in the corrupt and brutal LA police force of the 1950s used differing methods to uncover a conspiracy behind the shotgun slayings of the patrons of an all-night diner.
Is that LA Confidential?
It's LA Confidential, 1997, yes.
Love that film. So
Amazing
good.
film.
Brilliant soundtrack.
Okay, number 2. In Double Indemnity, Fred McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck plot against her husband to get a huge insurance payout.
Mm-hmm.
Who played the relentless insurance investigator who ferrets out the scheme?
Well, was that Edward G. Robinson?
It is Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah,
the classic.
Oh, God, I love that guy. He's brilliant. What an actor.
Amazing actor. Okay, number 3 is An Image. What do you think this is?
Is that the man who wasn't there? Billy Bob Thornton in the Coen Brothers classic.
Correct, it is. It's The Man Who Wasn't There, the Coen Brothers, 2001.
That's a cool film.
Great film.
Yeah, not bad.
Okay, number 4, we've got another plot. In the smog-choked dystopian Los Angeles of 2019, Rick Deckard is called out of retirement to terminate a quartet who have escaped.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Classic,
Based on
1982.
Philip K. Dick novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Okay, number 5. Who plays Miguel Mike Vargas, a drug enforcement official in the Mexican government, alongside his wife Susie, played by Janet Leigh, in Orson Welles' Touch of Evil?
Is that Charlton Heston?
It is indeed Charlton Heston.
Yeah, brilliant film.
Okay, number 6 is An Image again.
Okay, there's a guy in a tunnel. There's a lot of water at his feet. And it looks like he's on the run. I'm thinking this might be Orson Welles. Am I close? Am I warm? I'm saying Orson Welles in the Third Man.
You're warm. It's The Third Man, yeah. 1949.
What a great shot that is. Really love it.
It's iconic, isn't it? Absolutely iconic.
Brilliant.
Okay, number 7. In which Hitchcock noir classic do two people who don't know each other exchange or swap murders to avoid getting caught?
Oh, man. Strangers on a Train?
Strangers on a Train, correct. 1951.
Another classic.
Absolute classic. Okay, number 8 is another plot. A private detective takes on a case that involves him with 3 eccentric criminals, a beautiful liar, and their quest for a priceless statuette.
The Maltese Falcon.
The Maltese Falcon, 1941.
Yeah.
Another classic.
Brilliant.
Okay, number 9. Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman star as the leads in which Hitchcock noir classic?
Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman. That's got to be To Catch a Thief.
No.
Oh, damn. Sorry. Yeah.
It's actually Notorious.
Notorious, of course it is. What am I talking about? Catch a Thief's not really a noir. It's more of a caper
And
movie. And I don't even think Ingrid Bergman's in it.
Okay, number 10, to finish us off, is An Image.
Another Image. Let's have a look. Oh, come on. This is just one of the greatest films ever made. That is the Roman Polanski classic starring Jack Nicholson, John Huston. It is Chinatown.
Chinatown, correct.
Love that film.
Classic film.
Is that considered neo-noir or is... Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? One of the first neo-noirs.
It's kind of one of the last noir cinema thing, kind of when we start getting into neo-noir kind of territory. But there we go. 9 out of 10. Pretty good.
Ooh. That's all right, isn't it?
That's pretty damn good.
Nice.
Considering you thought you wouldn't do very well.
I felt, well, you took it easy on me because you're a good old buddy.
Wow, that's it. There we go. That's it for the film quiz this week. Let us know your scores down below in the comments and join us again next week for more on the film quiz.
Okay, it's time for the top 5. This week, obviously, we are noir themed, film noir themed. So we're doing our top 5 film noirs. So, Dave, are you ready? Should we get straight into it?
I'm ready. Let's get straight into it.
Okay, let's reveal the first one. Ooh, nice. So I've chose Double Indemnity there.
Absolute classic.
One of your favourite films, I believe.
It is. As I say, a film we've covered before on the Cinema Plus podcast, which is on YouTube and all the other platforms out there, Anchor and Spotify.
Yeah, have a listen to our podcast about Double Indemnity to find out what we really thought. But, you know, I mean, I have you to thank for this film because I didn't really know about it. And then, you know, you did that. I think it was when we were in college and you did the little tribute to it, like you did at the start of the episode here, the little Fred McMurray monologue. And I thought, what's that? And you told me all about it. And yeah, it was a great film, though. Good fun.
It is absolute classic. I've obviously chosen the Asphalt Jungle here, which is perhaps the darkest and blackest noir film that there is, but just so brilliant. It's the perfect crime story. It never once stops for humour relief. It never once stops to focus on romance or anything. It's
unrelenting.
It's unrelenting blackness, yeah. So
there we go. Very good. Okay, let's crack straight on. Let's have a look at what we had for number 4. Take them away. Ooh, there we go. I had The Killers.
There we go.
Classic.
Bit of a classic.
You like The Killers? You ever seen that? Burt Lancaster and
Ava
Gardner.
It's a very good film.
Yeah.
It's pretty unrelenting again.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've gone for The Maltese Falcon here.
Yeah, which is a very, very well-known film.
Very well known.
I think, for those that don't know their film noir as well, for those that have maybe only seen one or two, it's very likely that The Maltese Falcon was one of them.
Yeah, it's pretty much up there as kind of people always go to it, I think, when they're talking about film noir. And obviously it's Humphrey Bogart and everyone knows
Peter Lorre and everyone. It's just a real classic.
Yeah, and it's
whereas the Killers directed by Robert Syed-Mack, which is, I think that's how you say it, but it's one of the most contentious surnames in the whole of filmmaking, I think, but Syed-Mack is how I usually say it. We'll have to get a ruling from Lyndon on that one, and we'll get back to you because he'll know. He'll know,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was more of a specialist, specialising in noir, and yeah, The Killers is just a great one. Maltese Falcon, fantastic too. Okay, looking for a match still. Let's have a look at number 3. Take them away. Ooh, there we go. Night of the Hunter for me. Obviously, we've already covered that in our movie of the week this week, so we know all about that one.
Yeah, and obviously I've picked out Sunset Boulevard here, Billy Wilder's masterpiece, probably the best film still to this day about Hollywood itself.
Considered to be, isn't it? It is the benchmark.
Yeah, it's tremendously dark, tremendously sad. Really.
It is
about the fall of a silent film star, Norma Desmond. About the glory days of Hollywood. It's poignant. It's one of those. It's a special film.
It's probably Billy Wilder's one of the most important ingredients for the recipe of film noir is sadness. Because everything that transpires in these films it should make you sad. It's like, oh man, it's the antithesis of a happy-go-lucky Disney musical. We've got Sunset
films
Boulevard,
where everything goes wrong.
And people make bad choices for one reason or another, and they get in over their heads, and they whatever reason it is. It's like, Should we have a look at what's at number 2?
Let's have a look. Let's check it out.
Okay, number 2. Let's open the curtains. Now, I have chose The Killing, which is Stanley Kubrick about I think it's Sterling Hayden who does a robbery at the racetrack. Day of the races for Sterling and his pump action shotgun. Great fun, really good caper movie. A little bit like what we were talking about earlier, the Treasure of the Sierra Madre, in the sense that at the very end. It is a bit of a spoiler. Spoiler alert! But all the cash goes up into the wind, a bit like the gold goes back to the mountain. Yeah, but you got to love a good story like that. They put so much into it. There's double crossing going on left, right, and center. You don't know what's going to happen next. There's a nice few surprises in there, and then at the end, it's all for nothing anyway.
And of course, it's the launch of Kubrick's career, really. So
it was one of those. I mean, I'd seen the big films by Kubrick, all the 70s and 80s stuff, and then that was one of the ones that was like, oh, have you ever seen The Killing? It's black and white. About, oh no, there we go. Check it out if you haven't seen it and you like a bit of Stanley Kubrick. That's one to see. So your number 2.
Of course, I've chosen Touch of Evil here, which is the Orson Welles classic we mentioned earlier. It's just it's phenomenal. Orson Welles at his best, really. You know, I saw a great quote about it, which pretty much sums it up to me. He takes a B-movie thriller on the Mexican border and gives it Shakespearean grandeur. And I thought
that's
that
awesome.
is it.
That is Orson Welles. He is he is of that caliber of William Shakespeare, A.L. Because he always does it. I mean, let's go straight to our number one movies now, because my number one film noir is A Touch of Evil, so we can continue this conversation talking about it. I mean, talking about Orson Welles, it was another one where the studio him up as well. They messed with it. Apparently, there was what's considered to be closer to his original vision was released a few years ago. It's got some minor changes and some more stuff in there, but it doesn't stop it from being, for me anyway, an absolutely fantastic film.
Yeah, I mean, the more you read about the kind of what happened to it, the more infuriating it is. It's typical kind of studio meddling, and it's typical kind of, we're going to cut the hell of it, and it's like, you're ruining the actual point. But I mean, seeing the one that was released a few years ago is the best one to see if you haven't seen it.
Definitely.
And it's more close to his vision. But as you say, I mean, the performances, what everything about it is like, it's noir summed up in a film. Like it reeks.
And how brave of Orson Welles to portray himself as such a horrible, slimy, lascivious. But he plays it so well. But God, wow, what a role. And of course, it came up again on the radar when we were in college because of that fantastic tracking shot at the start that follows the car.
It's, for me, the best opening to a film ever. Yeah,
it's definitely up there as one of the most memorable.
Talk about setting the pace of a film to say, this is how we're going to open it. One shot.
It's instant tension, isn't it? Oh. Straight away, there's a bomb, and then this car drives off, and you're, oh my God, what's going to happen? Where's it going to go?
It's the old adage that Hitchcock said, isn't it? You can have something going on in a room, and then a bomb goes off. Boom, great. Well, superb. You've got a couple of seconds of interesting emotion, and that's it.
Yeah.
But you show the bomb being put into the car and the 2-minute timer. You've just created 3 minutes of tension and emotion because it's coming, but you can't stop it.
You don't know where, you don't know when. There's nothing you can do about it,
and that's the true genius of filmmaking, I think.
So there we go, Touch of Evil, and of course your number one was Double Indemnity.
Of course, Double Indemnity. I say to get our full thoughts on it, we do recommend go check out our Cinema Plus podcast, our favourite films. We talked about it in depth for a good hour. About how great a film it is. It's, to me, if you want a blueprint for what a noir film is, this was it. This is the one where it was like, this is every tick box and check box for what noir is in this film. Great performances, the best femme fatale, the best story, great dialogue, even if he keeps on saying baby constantly throughout the film. Baby. It's just fantastic, and it obviously looks beautiful. It's a great piece from Billy Wilder.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Baby. Shut up, baby. Goodbye, baby.
Absolutely worthy of being in anyone's number one pick for film noirs. And there we go. That's our top fives for this week on our Noirvember special. Okay, it's time for shorts and shout-outs, where we like to talk about short films that we've been watching and give a shout-out to our friends in the film Twitter community. This week, Dave, is Film Noir Week. Have you managed to find any good film noir short films?
I have. I came across a great film from 2015 called The Pavement.
Okay.
It's only a short 3-minute piece, but it's great. In 3 minutes, they managed to pack loads of interesting kind of noir devices and aesthetics into the film.
Yeah.
I made a really interesting film. It was apparently part of a competition with HBO or something. It won some awards back in 2015.
Cool.
But really interesting. It uses this kind of looping narrative of repetition, and this kind of rhythmic beats as the narrator is telling the story to kind of punctuate what's going on.
Yeah.
It looks stunning. It's got this really hyper-real look, a bit like Sin City.
Oh, cool.
If you remember that.
Oh, cool.
So it's got this really stark black and white look. And the kind of narrative's like this puzzle box of what happens in this flat, and obviously there's gunshots and stuff going off, and I won't spoil too much of it because it gives it away in such a short film. But really impressive, stunningly looking film with a really nice noir aesthetic. And if you're a noir aficionado, it's well worth going and checking out. We'll leave a link in the description below.
Brilliant, yeah. Well, I'll be checking that one out. I was looking at a film, UK film, and it's quite old now. Actually, I didn't realise it was quite as far back as it was when I was watching it. But it was 2009 anyway. The film director is Matthew Savage. The film's called Reign of Death, and it's really sort of just a little bit of fun, really, and a taster. I think it was a taster for something that they wanted to make into a feature length. I'm not sure whether it is a feature length, but basically you've got this gumshoe detective, and he's played by Noel Clarke. Remember him from Doctor Who?
Yes, good old Noel Clarke.
Yeah, good old Noel Clarke.
The Streets of London films as well, didn't he?
Kidulthood and Adulthood
and all that.
Yeah, he's into them. He's in them, I should say, as well as into them. But yeah, he stars as this sort of detective, and he gives this monologue at the start, and it's very sort of noir style. You know, the trilby, the trench coat, and the narration. And then he directs his attention to who he's talking to, and as the camera spins around, we're faced with this like robot. It's almost a little bit like sort of IG-88 or IG-11 if you watch the Mandalorian series, that kind of like a tall-headed robot. And obviously the robot is some sort of escaped criminal, and then there's a pursuit, and he chases him. And we'll put a link into the description. Again, watch this. As I say, I don't know if they made it into a full-length feature, but I thought it was quite interesting from the point of view of mashing up those two genres of film noir with sci-fi. Yeah. So, it's kind of futuristic, but at the same time, it hawks back to that noir era. It's impressive CGI. It looks really nice. It's got a futuristic edge. It's got a nice little jazz score, though, which lends itself to the noir genre, and it's good fun. That was the one I watched, so go check it out.
Sounds great. I'll go check that out. Yeah,
I mean,
like Noel Clarke as well.
That's it. I was going to say fans of Noel Clarke and Doctor Who and that they'd if they haven't already seen it, they'd want to check that out.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's a good little bit at the end. It was quite strange, actually. Without spoiling it, I can't really talk about it, but let's just say that it was, one of the characters gets a bit pissed off. So yeah, there you go. There's our short films this week. Obviously, we'd like to give a shout out to all our usual film Twitter chums and pals: Skip Bolden, Tico Romeo, Liam Jackson. A special thank you to Aaron Brown, who has been really great in introducing us to a hell of a lot of film noirs that we'd never heard of. He seems to be a wealth of information about them. So go and check out Aaron's profile for a real list of fantastic film noirs this Noirvember. Thanks for that, Aaron. Also, a special shout out to Used Robot Salesman, who is one of our mutuals on Twitter. If you yourself find yourself in the market for a used robot, then look no further. This guy does you a great deal. He's got the best spare parts, and he's got a good warranty kind of deal on all of his robots. So if you need a sort of domestic robot to cut your grass or do your dishes, whatever, he's the guy to see. Okay, now we're coming towards the end of the show, but before we go, we've got red pill, blue pill. Dave, it's medication time. Are you ready?
Should be like red poison, blue poison, shouldn't it?
I suppose this week, being Noir Week, it should be black pill, white pill.
Oh, it should.
Either way, here we go. Our noir-themed red pill, blue pill. Starting with train or car?
Ooh, car. I'll go with car.
Dashiell Hammett or Raymond Chandler?
Raymond Chandler.
A poisoned drink or a couple of slugs from a 38?
A couple of slugs from a 38, partner.
Laura or Gilda?
Laura.
French noir or American noir?
American noir.
Robert Mitchum or Kirk Douglas?
Robert Mitchum.
Nicholas Ray or Billy Wilder?
Billy Wilder.
Orson Welles or Fritz Lang?
I'll go with Orson. I'll go with Orson Welles.
We love Orson. Gene Tierney or Jane Greer?
Jane Greer.
Rita Hayworth or Lauren Bacall?
Rita Hayworth.
That for me would be an impossible choice, by the way. I couldn't choose between. It'd have to be one of those. Why not both?
Why not both?
Okay. Humphrey Bogart or Glenn Ford?
I'll go with Bogart.
Ingrid Bergman or Barbara Stanwyck?
Barbara Stanwyck.
Marilyn Monroe or Janet Leigh?
Controversially, I'm going to go with Janet Leigh.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that one. I got it. Okay, Joan Crawford or Betty Davis?
Betty Davis.
The Strange Woman or The Lady from Shanghai?
The Lady from Shanghai.
James Stewart or Robert Ryan?
Oh, it's got to be Jimmy Stewart, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's really, yeah. Although Robert Ryan is a fine actor.
Well, I guess we're going to have ourselves a nuclear holocaust. Oh, hey, everybody, come on over to the window.
Veronica Lake or Hedy Lamarr?
Veronica Lake.
Again, another impossible choice for me. Couldn't make that one. Sorry. Michael Curtiz or John Huston?
John Huston.
Robert Siodmak or Otto Preminger?
Otto Preminger.
You're going with Otto Preminger?
Yeah.
All right. Not too bad. The Killers or Double Indemnity?
Double Indemnity.
Flashback or Dream Sequence?
Flashback.
What's the matter? Honey, what's the matter? You look like you just saw a ghost.
For a minute, I thought I did.
And to finish us off on Red Pill, Blue Pill, or Black Pill, White Pill, as we know it this week, The Maltese Falcon or Sunset Boulevard?
I'll go with Sunset Boulevard, I think.
There we go. Brilliant stuff, Dave. Well chosen.
There we go.
Very, very well chosen indeed. You scored a maximum of maximum points.
Excellent.
Well done.
Excellent.
Well done to you.
Excellent choice, sir.
Well, that's it for another movie show. Hope you've enjoyed our Noirvember special, all about film noir. Let us know in the comments your thoughts, your favourite film noirs, and what bits of the show you enjoyed. Don't forget to have a look at moremovies.co.uk. All of the podcasts and articles that we've mentioned in this episode are linked below, so go and check them out. And join us on Twitter at moremovies4.
And remember to leave us your comments right here on YouTube below. Make sure to subscribe, press the bell icon for notifications, and join us again next week for more on The Movie Show.